steering it is broken down.
So here we go then, the sunrise is here, which means we've got a brand new season of Formula 1 just around the corner. We're here for round number 1 at the Australian Grand Prix this time around. It has been Bahrain, but for the calendar this year, it is Australia that is going to be hosting round number 1. And let's get straight into all of the news before the Australian Grand Prix. Ferrari have launched a protest against the FIA after there was a points error for the team last season. Ferrari have stated that their points from Germany were not added correctly. Now, having a look at this news, we can confirm that this was actually true after having a look at the points tally. Both the two Ferrari drivers in total claimed 10 points for their team, with both Charles Leclerc and Fernando Alonso. The Drivers' Championship was updated correctly. The Constructors' Championship was not. Ferrari did not get the 10 points that they should have got at the German Grand Prix. This overall meant that Ferrari, I believe, missed out on the chance to finish third in the Constructors ahead of Mercedes due to this error. This is something that Ferrari are now furious with, but the biggest question that's now on the media's mind after this has all come along is why didn't Ferrari know about this straight after the German Grand Prix? Surely they would have looked at the championship and gone, hang on a second, we're on the same points we were last race. So, very weird that Ferrari only knew about this now, and raising this to light, but hey ho, it's an error, and now the FIA need to sort things out about it. Devon Butler sends a warm warning to the new American stars. Now, Devon Butler has, as we know, been the cocky guy and has been very much half-heartedly gaining heat in the paddock. Unfortunately, Valtteri Bottas will be at Williams this season. Of course, they were teammates last season, and Butler managed to get the favoritism of Audi and pretty much just unsettled Bottas to the point where he was like, I'm having enough and I need to leave the team because I'm not getting the support from my team. And with Noah James and Mason Wood having their debuts this weekend, Devon Butler doesn't send them a warm welcome, but a warm warning, in which he says to stay out of his way off track and on track, or it will get nasty. So Devon Butler's ready for a fight. And speaking of fights, people are starting to get concerned about both Tom and Sam being in the same team. Zach Brown, however, believes there's going to be no conflict between the two of them. He believes that he's got the best driver lineup with the best car, and therefore this team is going to be unstoppable this season. Now having a look at the race news then for the Australian Grand Prix, and firstly we've got the teams that are unsure of where they stand for the grid after practice. It was a very strange practice session when all of the teams just didn't really get a feel for where they were. McLaren were struggling in FP1, Red Bull were flying in FP1, then Ferrari were quick in FP2 along with Renault, and then FP3, McLaren and Mercedes picked up their pace. No one really got a good understanding of where they were. It seemed to be one of those tracks where the true pace of the cars just wasn't there, and Toto Wolff backs this up by saying that Melbourne's not going to show the true pace of any car, so wherever anyone finishes, really take it with a pinch of salt is what he's trying to say. Early signs are showing that there is going to be a new McLaren versus Red Bull battle. One thing about Red Bull is that they were consistent in all of the practice sessions. They were rapid in FP1, little bit off in FP2, and again closed up a bit in FP3. So Red Bull were showing the signs of the most consistent, and Renault unfortunately are not able to get on top of their new aero parts. They were really struggling for overall grip in the front and rear and just couldn't quite get the balance sorted, and it's really costing them crucial amounts of time. Hopefully they can try and make it up in the Grand Prix, but we'll have to wait and see. But for now guys, let's get straight into it. It's round number 1 for the Australian Grand Prix. Yo, what's going on guys, it is Foxy98 here and welcome to a brand new season of the F1 journey. We are here for season number 5, round number 1, which is going to take us to the Australian Grand Prix. So sit back, relax, hopefully you guys end up enjoying the episodes, and without further ado, let's get straight into the first race with a new season and also a new car. So first things first then, we obviously got to get on with qualifying, and our first lap was really poor, and Charles Leclerc actually managed to go ahead and absolutely trump that On our second flying lap, we were starting to feel a little bit more comfortable with the car, and what I was noticing was the McLaren was really quick, but the rear end of the car was very unstable, and we pop ourselves in P3 with the fastest final sector, which I was pretty impressed about, but I knew that I'd made mistakes on my laps, so I went for another attempt here, and on my final run, you can see we're about 0.4 of a second, now half a second up here going towards this final sector, so we're finding even more time compared to our previous run through the final sector. Now around about 0.6 up as we go towards the start-finish line here, and literally putting foot flat to the floor, and it's about a 0.6 of a second gain in our favour, and we cross the start-finish line to set a 1 minute 18.4, which is going to be the pole position lap time for us here today, and I was super happy about that. And as you're about to see right now, we have a starting grid sequence. So let's get straight into it. New graphics coming in. So first things first, we are on pole position ahead of Mason Wood on his debut. Gets a front row lockout start, and he'll be joined with Reese and Noah James then on the second row. So again, good start for the rookies. Lewis Hamilton outqualifies Charles Leclerc, who gets P6 in the second Ferrari. Sam, my teammate, only managed to get P7 ahead of Max Verstappen in P8 for Jaguar. Lando Norris, P9 for Red Bull ahead of Devon Butler, who starts 10th for Audi. Nico Hülkenberg starts P11 for Jaguar ahead of Esteban Ocon in the Renault. So a decent qualifying, you could say, for Ocon, getting in front of Daniel Ricciardo, who starts P13 for his home Grand Prix, with George Russell starting in P14. It's a bad qualifying session for a poorly performance Porsche, 15th and 16th place only. Gasly and Sainz lock out the second to last row, and then it's going to be the Williams cars. They're going to lock out the back row. Weber out qualifying Valtteri Bottas. So there you can see is the grid in its entirety. I'll leave a link in the description down below as well. Thank you very much to Sam and also Connor. Sam obviously being my closest friend, and Connor being just a loyal member of the channel and joining up on the Discord. He hit me up on Discord and said, did you want some graphics? So I said yes, and this is what it is. So you can check out the links in the description down below. We have now got a race to get underway, so let's get straight into it then. So straight things off then. It's been a decent start for us then as we go in towards the first corner for the first time here, and we get a very clean run through towards turn 1 and already open out a fantastic lead then as we start things off, but we automatically take the race lead then as Reese now is going to try and attack Mason as they go in towards the second corner here, but it's not going to happen as Noah there has got a good start up into P4 now for Ferrari on his debut. Hamilton though is going to try and fight this one here. Obviously Hamilton way more experienced than Noah here on his debut as we're leading the race. Mason is in second place, Reese hunting him down in P3, and now as they go in towards this end of the first sector, Hamilton and just trying to hold on there versus Noah, and I think he's just about done it there, and he has done as they go around the outside here. So Noah gets in front of Lewis Hamilton then, so Noah getting his elbows out on his debut here, taking no prisoners, even if you've got Lewis Hamilton of all drivers on your back here. But you can see the top three already making a sturge out front, and as you can see now, Noah under pressure as Hamilton in towards the left-right chicane. He's going to go for it here against Noah, and he actually goes around the outside and just gets straight past Noah James, so gets back away from him now, but Noah's going to come back in him in towards the final sector now, towards the outside line here. Very bold overtaking position if he can try and pull this one off, but it doesn't work out. Hamilton gets back in front of Noah, and that is Lewis Hamilton up into P4 now for this Grand Prix. Up at the front then, we're coming on to lap 5 of the Grand Prix. This is quite an unusual sight. Myself in a car, which I can just lead the race quite comfortably in. But as we go in towards the first corner here, we get a slight screen freeze on that corner, and that just compromises. We get a horrible exit there. I had to literally downshift to correct the time. Mason Wood now is going to come around the outside here. Wood with the no DRS, of course, but he's got such great momentum here that we've a little mistake there has cost us the lead of the Australian Grand Prix. Mason Wood now leads for the first time in Formula 1 on his debut. He now has to have the pressure, and we now need to get our head back in the game and focus up as we look further back here. Sam there flying on through as we've got Lando Norris there going around the outside of Charles Leclerc. A nice overtake there as we see now Hamilton under pressure still from Noah, but Sam is trying to close up onto that pack. Norris now gets away from Charles Leclerc, but he's going to have to deal with the DRS now from Charles Leclerc if it's activated. Yes, it is activated. So now here we go then, but Lando Norris here has got DRS of his own, so he's obviously been in the detection zone. Leclerc will try and go around the outside. Norris will give him a little bit of a squeeze there, but he'll still be optional for the attack now, but Leclerc is going to get the better run, and he passes Lando Norris as we've got the Jaguar there. I think that's Max Verstappen, of course, who's rocking the number 20 for this weekend because Jaguar made a dumb error and got the wrong numbers. They brought Lucas Weber's numbers to this event. So I can confirm that for the next episode, I hope, anyway, Jaguar will give Verstappen the correct number. But for now, he's using number 20. But back ahead, though, we've got Noah and Hamilton still fighting at it then. So these two definitely not giving each other any form of quarters. And Hamilton now is going to have a great run here versus Noah. He's going to have the DRS in his favour as they go in towards the final sector. Not going to work on that occasion, though. Hamilton has to wait a little bit longer to make his attack. Meanwhile, for the other Jaguar, who luckily has got the correct number, is locking up. He goes very deep into the corner and just allows the Renault of, I believe it was Daniel Ricciardo, to make his way through. As Hamilton, meanwhile, back up front, is now trying to attack Noah for about the millionth time in this Grand Prix. Noah just shoves Hamilton a little bit wide, but Lewis will say thank you very much for that and swoops around the outside of Noah and retakes P4 in the race. And Lando Norris seems to have cleared Charles Leclerc, so now it seems to be a four-way fight for P4 between Hamilton, Noah, Sam and Norris. Mercedes, Ferrari, McLaren and Red Bull. Of course, all throughout season 4 last year, we were seeing all of these 4 teams scrapping away for the points and also the victories. And each of, in fact, actually no, Mercedes didn't actually grab a victory last year. I completely forgot about that. So yeah, all but Mercedes got victories last year as they now press on in towards the first sector here. And everyone just sort of having a little bit of a look at each other in this DRS train as Sam is now attacking Noah James here. Noah seems to be dropping back a little bit from Hamilton in this stage of the race, and Sam goes up the inside of Noah and takes P5 of this Grand Prix away from Noah. Sam should have DRS for a second run here down the straight, but Noah is going to be pressurizing him, but Norris is going to be the one pressurizing Noah James. So they go round in towards the end of this long straight here. It looks like Lando Norris is just about in front, and he is so Noah there is going to have to drop out. In fact, Noah's going to try and fight it a little bit, and unfortunately it's not the case. So what was a promising start for Noah seems to just start to tail off a little bit here as he's now got Ocon all over the back of him. There's a big lock up there from Noah, and he's actually going to lose the position there to Butler, who makes contact with Noah there. So Butler trying to get his elbows out versus Noah, and it's just going backwards now for the Ferrari. So has he got a problem here, or is he just literally struggling for pace? On to lap 9 of the Grand Prix now. We're coming into the pits for our first and only stop of this Grand Prix. We've been managing to maintain the pressure against Mason, but however, in saying that, it's still not the best thing that we possibly could have wanted here. You know, we probably would have liked to have been back past Mason, but in credit to him, he's doing a fantastic job in the Red Bull, and it looks like we're going to have a real fight on our hands here versus this new young gun, and we get held up a little bit in the pits, annoyingly, by Mason. He obviously got through and cost us a little bit of time there. Michael McLaren has got bare dirt on it. How has that happened? But yeah, as we now go onto the straight here, lots of traffic though coming through. So despite the fact that Mason has got a little bit of advantage, you can see he's pulled away now. We were right on his gearbox, now we're not. This is the first time here we're going to see Mason into some proper wheel-to-wheel combat as they go through in towards the final sector. It's Mason versus Russell now as they go through these high-speed right-handers, and fair play to Mason, just goes straight around the outside of George Russell, taking no prisoners and getting through the traffic quickly as possible. Lap 13 of the Grand Prix, and we've just set the fastest first sector of the race so far, albeit with also the new fastest lap of the race as well. And now Noah is starting to feel a little bit of pressure from these back markers that we tend to see during our pit stop phases here. And now he's trying to go for it on Pascal Vernon on the outside of this chicane. This is going to be bold and brave if he can make this one stick. He goes for it though, side by side. Fair play to Mason Woods. He's got that overtake done. Beautiful overtake there. We bide our time though, nice and patient. And now we're going to be onto the back of Mason, going in towards the final sector. And now we try and play the patient game here versus Mason. We've got the DRS, hopefully then for the next straight, which I believe that was not the detection. Yeah, it was the detection zone actually. So we have got DRS now for the straight, but that's a little bit of time. A couple of little screen freezes here and then about, so it's all about just maintaining the composure. We don't quite get the best run through the last corner, but this might be one of our only opportunities as we now get onto the power here. Activating Rich Mix, DRS, overtake, we've got it all coming our way now as we go towards the inside line. Fake it there, Mason now has to succumb to the position, and as you can see, we just about get our way through, and we're back up into the lead of the Australian Grand Prix, and we have finally overtaken Mason. Took us about 10 laps to get back past Mason, but we managed to get it done, and that's a beautiful shot there through turn 12. We got Verstappen there overtaking one of the Audi cars of Devon Butler. Butler now under pressure from Noah here, so Noah trying to refight his way up the order after going backwards in this Grand Prix. Noah though can't find a way past Devon Butler on that occasion. A lap 14 to start lap 15, and my overtake on Mason Wood was all fun and dandy, but Mason Wood wants the position back then. So as we go in towards the first corner now, here comes Mason on the outside with the DRS, but we can break a little bit later than Mason can and retake the position back, and defending the position as race now is only 3.7 seconds off. So if me and Mason fight for literally the rest of the Grand Prix, which we look set to be doing here, Reese has a good opportunity to close the gap. Let's have a look and see what it is on this lap then. It was 3.7, it's up to 3.8, so we're actually managing that gap quite nicely, but Mason here gets a great exit off of that corner, and now as he's got the second phase of the DRS here, we're going to go towards the outside line. Mason goes for it towards the inside line. We're going to close that door nice and sharply against Mason Wood, and we stick it around the outside and defend against the Red Bull driver. Very cunning tactic there. Tried to go for it on the inside, but it was a late braking maneuver. It was just easy for me to cover off. Now, this is not me versus Mason. These are both of our teammates, actually. Lando Norris and Sam are fighting for position then. As we can see that, oh, bit of contact against the wall for Sam Norris, pushing him very wide there. Of course, Lando Norris finally back in a competitive race seat here for Red Bull, and Sam goes around the outside, though. McLaren seem to have the better straight line speed here as they now go through in towards the turn 11 and 12 chicane. Norris, though, is going to have to DRS, of course, 3 zones around here. Now as they go towards the final sector, Norris tries to break it a little bit later. Sam, though, can hold off the position as they go through the final sector now. Beautiful helicopter cam to show this shot off as we see them blitzing around. Of course, Sam is all but well known for fighting against Red Bull. Of course, Sam, the reigning world champion here in Season 5, is of course had to battle me all season long in a Red Bull, so he very much knows how these Red Bulls compete. But it seems like the Red Bull is definitely picked up in performance over the winter break, and now Lando Norris clears him away. And speaking of people coming up from behind, we've now got Ricciardo here, who's going for an overtake, oh no, it's Ocon, sorry, going for an overtake on Ricciardo, and then that's Sam and Norris there. So they're only just a little bit ahead of the 2 Renaults, who are really making their strategy work in their favour. They're very much clearing off from away from the pack there. So good stuff from Renault so far. As again, Ricciardo now is having to try and defend against Esteban Ocon. Ocon is going to go around the outside though here, but I think Ricciardo's going to have it. No, Ocon carries the momentum, carries the speed through. Ricciardo will try and hold it back onto the exit here towards the end of the first sector. This is great racing from the 2 Renaults. Ricciardo comes out on top in that occasion. Lap 20 of the Grand Prix now, and we are coming up towards some back markers here. Bottas and Weber, the 2 Williams cars, going side by side. As you see, we're going to just navigate our way through. They open a nice little hole. Mason's going to... No! Mason Wood has just gone straight into the side of Valtteri Bottas. That is absolutely chaotic there for the Red Bull drivers. We fly on through. Just check this out. We go on through. Mason makes contact with the 1 Williams car. He was still on my back. You saw how close he was to the back of my car. And as you can see, he just drives into the side of one of the Williams cars. I don't know if that's Bottas. It's Bottas, I believe it was. As we have another look now, you can see here, he takes such a late attempt to turn out of the corner. And Bottas there just literally, well, he got out of the way and Mason just went straight into the back of him. So that is absolute disaster for Mason Wood. Now on to lap 21 of the Grand Prix here. We've now got a yellow flag and a full course safety car has just come out, and we're going to take the opportunity to box for a new set of tyres now. And by the looks of it, I'm pretty sure looking at the top left there, it was Reese that has DNF'd from the Australian Grand Prix. To confirm, it was Reese. So Reese was running in P3, took advantage because of that crash from Mason Wood, and now all of a sudden his car has let him down here in Australia. So we're going to pit now and go on to a set of the super soft tyres to get us to the end of the Grand Prix. We could have got to the end on the soft tyres, but I wanted to make sure I had a faster tyre compound, fresh tyre compound, versus my rivals. As we come out of the pits now here, let's see where we're rejoining all this. So that's Lando Norris and Sam. So we're now going to rejoin in front of them two. So we're down into second place. So Lewis Hamilton now inherits the race lead here during the safety car period. Now we are in second place, but we're on fresh super soft tyres now to get to the end of the Grand Prix. And as we get onto lap 24 here, it's time to go back racing. Then as we go through the last corner, tyres are a little bit cold to start things off. Not the best restart from us though. It's actually quite a poor restart in general, but we've got more straight line speed than Lando Norris. We've got more to give on the straights, and of course we've got fresher tyres, so through the corners we're going to be absolutely rapid. So now we just need to get the tyres warmed up, get a move on Lewis Hamilton, and we should be all good and rosy to chase down the Mercedes driver. So as we see now, going straight through, and you can see now to the end of lap 25, we're now stalking all over the back of Lewis Hamilton, trying to see if we can find a way past the Mercedes man in towards the second to last corner. We're not going to do it there, of course. We've got the two straights to come up, so we're going to take our chance through there as we go around the final corner here. I've never really got the best line versus the AIs, but now as we get onto the straight here, we can see we've got the power of the McLaren car, of course, the car now with proper straight line speed as we go in towards the first corner, go down the inside of Lewis Hamilton and take the lead of the Australian Grand Prix, get back in front in this race. And that overtake has left Hamilton a little bit flustered here. Here comes Lando Norris now in the Red Bull to try and attack Lewis Hamilton in towards the sector, the middle sector, whatever it's called. It's not even the middle sector, it's the first sector. I can't even get my words out at this point. Hamilton though is going to try and defend against Lando Norris around the outside. Eventually he's going to have it around the inside there, and Sam now is going to try and fight this one back as we go towards the end of the first sector, start the middle sector. Hamilton though still has a bit more defending to do, and they're still trying to go at it here, but Norris just about gives up on that fight, and Lewis Hamilton holds on there against the Red Bull driver. of Lando Norris. So on our perspective now, we go across the line and we set a fastest lap of the race, so 121.3 to get the bonus point for the fastest lap. As we come now towards the start-finish line here, it has been a sensational season opener. It was quite a tense one versus Mason Woods, but we're going to come towards the start-finish line now, crossing it, there we go, and that is going to be the race victory here at Australia, and we get a lovely bit of freezing there, as obviously we get the race win, but it was a very, very good Grand Prix and a great weekend for McLaren itself and a great debut. So as we can see then, we do take the race victory in our debut race for McLaren, and Lewis Hamilton comes across the line in P2. We managed to finish 7.9 seconds clear. We'd literally just used all of the fuel in the ERS possible with my fresh tyres and just went quali lap after quali lap and pulled away. Then we've got Lando Norris then in P3. He was only 8.4 behind Lewis Hamilton, with Sam in the McLaren just 0.4 of a second shy of a podium. So my teammate Sam, fair play to him. He managed to cover up quite a few places there, and that's good for him. Esteban Ocon finishes off in P5 ahead of Daniel Ricciardo in P6, and then it's Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari in P7 ahead of Pascal Wehrlein, Max Verstappen, and then Nico Hülkenberg. So Jaguar with a phenomenal debut race for them. Well, not debut race, but phenomenal opening race for Jaguar, managing to get double points finish. Of course, last season they only scored points in 2 races, which was round number 2 in Brazil and then in Monaco. So a great way to start off their season. And for us, we pick up the fastest lap and the bonus points for that. And I believe that is the first time, actually, that we've managed to pick up the fastest lap point. We didn't get it at all last season, and we managed to get it first time around this season. So I'm impressed with that. Nice stuff there. Looking at the second half, though, of the table, of course, this is something that I didn't do with the new graphics, obviously, that I've been making. Just because of how long it takes to make an F1 Journey episode, I didn't really have the time. So for the race results, so for the top half of the screen, obviously, you'll be able to see a lot more, like you've seen the nationality, the badges, and the points and time, etc. For the bottom half of the table, I've just gone ahead and just labelled exactly where everyone finished, and obviously the bottom 3 drivers didn't finish, so I've labelled them as a DNF. So George Russell got P11 ahead of Rosberg, Gasly, Carlos Sainz for Ford, 2 Williams cars of Weber and Bottas up next, Devon Butler down in P17, so had a rough Grand Prix for him. Noah actually DNF'd under the safety car, didn't actually show that in the footage because I forgot about it, that he DNF'd as we were going around during the safety car period. Reese, of course, DNF'd to trigger the safety car, and then Mason Woods, of course, DNF'd to that crash with the back markers of the Williams cars. Having a look at the Drivers' Championship, and of course, it is the exact same top 10 as what we've just seen, apart from the fact, obviously, I have 26 points because I did take the fastest lap bonus points. So it's obviously myself, Hamilton, Norris, Sam, Ocon, Ricciardo, Leclerc, Wehrlein, Verstappen, and Nico Hülkenberg involved in that. And then into the Constructors' Championship, a very strong start for us in McLaren, 38 points to our name. Mercedes-Benz are next on the grid with 18 points ahead of Renault. Renault and Mercedes obviously tied, but Hamilton getting P2 is a higher race finish. Red Bull are on 15 points after round number 1. Ferrari with 6 points. Then it's Porsche with 4. Jaguar pick up 3 points. And then it's Audi, Ford and Williams that failed to score points this time around. But with that all being said and done, we're going to go into the post-race notebook now and have a look and see what the teams and drivers had to say after that Australian Grand Prix. Starting off with Tom, who is delighted to have kick-started the season with a race win for McLaren. Tom has been very pronounced for getting race wins in the opening races of the season. We saw last season for Red Bull, he managed to take the race win in Bahrain, and obviously this time around here in Australia, he takes the race win for McLaren and is very delighted to get that win. Mason was absolutely outraged by what he called awful driving from the back markers. Now, we saw, of course, Mason was pressurising Tom throughout the entirety of the Grand Prix, and after losing the lead to Tom, he came back and stuck to the rear of his car. As the Williams drivers both separated to allow the room to come through, Mason blames the 2 Williams cars for costing him his chance at a race victory. Both the Williams drivers, though, have hit back at Mason and called his actions dreadful, not only for speaking out against them, but it was clearly shown on the footage from what they've said that Wood literally did not bother to turn away and just had no reactions and no concentration versus the Williams cars and judged as if they weren't there. And Daniel Ricciardo is not fully satisfied, despite the fact they got a great race result of P5 and P6 for Renault. He believes that Renault overachieved at his home Grand Prix. Of course, Renault have just seemed to be lacking pace at the moment, and Ricciardo believes that P5 and P6 is very generous for what he believes they should have had, and he thinks that they probably should have got maybe P9, P10 around about that section there. But anyway, that is going to wrap it up for the first episode of the F1 Journey. If you guys have enjoyed it, feel free to drop it a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here as well. Once again, thank you very much to Sam and Connor, for helping out with graphics for the F1 journey. And obviously, plenty more will be coming hopefully very, very soon. But until then, guys, I will see you for round number 2, which will be the Mexican Grand Prix. Take care, all. Peace.